Chapter 1204. How is that possible? Little junior sister, isn't that unreasonable? Feng Xiaoxiao looked at the text message again and again, getting more and more confused. The man narrowed his eyes and said lazily with a hint of danger, "Are you saying I'm being unreasonable?" Feng Xiaoxiao coughed lightly and waved her hands hurriedly. No, no, no. How could that be? But this outcome is way too different from what I expected. Boss, did you really do as I said? Little junior sister hates those two scumbags the most in the country. You helped her slap their faces. Even if she doesn't appreciate it, she shouldn't have scolded you. The more Feng Xiaoxiao thought about it, the more confused she became. She then looked at Tang Yi, who was sitting next to the silver-haired man. Elder senior brother, can you tell me what exactly happened? Be more specific. Tang Yi's face reflected the faint glow of the laptop. He tapped on the laptop a few times and handed it over. Feng Xiaoxiao hurriedly looked at the laptop and saw that it was a live broadcast of the charity gala. The live broadcast was done on a working day by the organizers. It had a lot of views and was currently at the top of the list. It was obvious that something shocking must have happened at the charity gala. Feng Xiaoxiao clicked on the screen excitedly, but the more she watched, the uglier her expression became in the end. Her face was so horrible that she couldn't bear to look at it. Feng Xiaoxiao closed the laptop and looked at the two men sitting in front of her with a pale face and trembling hands. You guys. After a long while, Feng Xiaoxiao, who was about to explode from anger, finally regained the ability to speak. My beloved boss, please allow me to sincerely ask you, why do you want to increase $1? What's wrong with your brain? I did it willingly. Is there a problem? The silver-haired man glanced at her. Feng Xiaoxiao pounded her chest and almost spat out a mouthful of blood. She couldn't communicate properly with the man in front of her. She could only turn to Tang Yi and roar in anger. Elder senior brother. You know how high boss's EQ is. But why didn't you stop her? Tang Yi opened his laptop and started working on those complicated financial reports again. He didn't even raise his head when he heard this. Why should I stop her? Feng Xiaoxiao. Heavens! Someone come and save me. She was about to be angered to death by this group of bastards with zero EQ. He really shouldn't have held any hope for them. Feng Xiaoxiao struggled as if he had just escaped from death and said weakly, Boss, since you hired me to be your dog-head army, a Pui love counselor, then you should strictly follow the method I taught you. And don't add scenes for yourself, okay? What's the difference between your previous actions and those of an anti-fan? Junior sister might even suspect that you're sent by Ning Xuelua. How troublesome. The silver-haired man faintly looked irritated. Feng Xiaoxiao was afraid of angering him, so she quickly softened her tone. Sigh, my boss, if you want to tie down junior sister's heart. It's inevitable that you'll encounter some trouble. In fact, this guy's low EQ was all because of money. To him, he only needed one trick to deal with women. Throw money, throw money, throw money. Add to that he had no interest in the affairs of men and women, and his brain circuit was unimaginable. Naturally, he would never think of studying those complicated things. Chapter 1205. She had hoped that eldest senior brother would be able to give her some advice, but it turned out that the two of them were equally matched. She could not count on him at all. The only people in the organization who she had a good relationship with and had normal brain circuits were little junior sister and second senior brother. Now that both of them were gone, she was the only one left. Every day, she was so angry that her liver hurt. If she was not so lonely, she would not have compromised to help that guy chase after little junior sister. If she could really get little junior sister back, of course, it would be a happy ending. Unfortunately, after trying once, she would rather go to the countryside to farm than teach this guy how to chase after women. 100 million was wasted just like that. Haha. Blue Group CEO's office. Second young master. Second young master, you're here? Hello, second young master. Where's my brother? The CEO is in the office. Lu Jingli did not have time to pay attention to anyone. He passed through the staff area like a whirlwind and ran straight in the direction of the CEO's office. Lu Jingli pushed the door open and slammed his hands on his brother's desk with a loud bang. Fuck. Brother. Why are you still in the company? Stop working. Lu Tingxiao looked up from a pile of complicated documents and pinched his tired eyebrows. What's the matter? Of course there's something. Something big has happened. Who the fuck is coveting your wife? Lu Jingli was furious. His little expression was even angrier than if his wife had been stolen. Even though he did not have a wife. Lu Tingxiao's expression froze, and he cast a suspicious look. Lu Jingli immediately rushed over and used Lu Tingxiao's computer to search for a video. Brother. Look, 100 million, 100 million. What kind of fan makes it sound so nice? He's coveting your wife's beauty. But I don't know why this guy deliberately teased little Cece in the beginning. Is it to leave a deeper impression on little Cece? If it must be so. He's so insidious. Brother, you can't lose. Look, I've already chosen all the gifts for you. Every single one of them is definitely better than that crown. Lu Jingli talked nonstop for a long time, and he even opened the iPad in his hand to show Lu Tingxiao the gifts he had found. There was a crown, a ring, and even a sports car. There was a complete range of gifts, everything that one could ask for. From the looks of it, he was determined to win this round. Lu Tingxiao's gaze lingered for a few seconds on the corner with the number 8 sign, his face expressionless. Brother, can you hear me? The enemy is coming at us ferociously, so we can't show any weakness. Take a look at any of these gifts and I'll go buy it immediately. Lu Jingli roared anxiously. Lu Tingxiao, no need. Why wouldn't I? It's absolutely necessary, I'm telling you. Although you have a good relationship with little Cece, you also need to maintain a relationship. Gifts are very important. Lu Jingli had a serious expression on his face, and then he frowned and muttered. And, this number may 8th be a little tricky. Even I haven't found out who he is. Who in the capital has such financial resources that I don't know. But one thing is for sure, he's definitely a crazy admirer of little Cece. Otherwise, how could he spend so much money? I just don't know what his relationship with little Cece is. Is it possible that they know each other? Lu Tingxiao leaned back in his chair, his face cold, and his tone calm. He's just an ex-boyfriend. Lu Jingli. Chapter 1206. What? Lu Jingli's eyes widened. Ex-boyfriend? This guy is Cece's ex-boyfriend? Brother, how do you know? Lu Tingxiao did not speak and continued to read the document. To be able to casually take out 100 million in liquid funds, coupled with such an unbridled and arrogant way of doing things. He did not need to check to know who it was. And that person, Ningxi had once said that she had dated him for a day. Even if Ningxi used to like him, or even love him, it was just in the past. Lu Jingli looked at his brother's calmness and expressed his admiration. That's right. Number 8 and Su Yan are just ex-boyfriends. So what if they fight to the death with each other? Brother, you are the legal wife. Lu Tingxiao finished reading the last document in his hand, then picked up his coat and got up to leave. Brother, where are you going? Lu Jingli asked hurriedly. To prepare a gift. You're going to give Cece a gift? What are you going to give her? Don't you need me to choose? Lu Jingli was disappointed, but at the same time, he was also curious. Did his brother have a better gift for Cece? On the other hand, after the banquet, Ningxi asked Xiao Tao to go back first, and then sent a text message to Annie to ask her out to meet. Although 70 million yuan of this crown was for charity, 30 million yuan was still a huge amount. Because it was a gift from someone else, it was not appropriate for her to donate it without permission, so she could only accept it for the time being. Now she could only ask Annie to return it. She knew that the money was just a drop in the bucket for someone, and she also knew that he would never take back what he had given away. However, she also had her principles. She already had a big devil, so naturally, she would not accept gifts from other men. Although that guy was actually not in the category of human to her. Before she met Annie, she made a trip back and brought the huge diamond with her. She also brought the gift that she had prepared for Annie, in a private room in a restaurant. Brother Annie was very happy to see Ningxi. This is for you. Ningxi handed her a pink bag. Annie looked at the extremely cute cartoon-shaped biscuits in the bag, and her eyes lit up. Wow, so cute. For me? Brother where did you buy it? I made it. Don't mind. What? Brother Shi, you made it yourself? Why would he despise it? I love it so much. Thank you, Brother Shi. Annie held it in her arms like a baby. She didn't expect Brother Shi to be able to make such a cute thing. Her face was full of surprise. I should be the one thanking you. The prescription you gave my grandpa last time was very effective. Ningxi thanked him. It's just a piece of cake. By the way, Brother Shi, are you looking for me for something else? Annie asked tentatively. Ningxi glanced at her. You know what happened today? Actually, I'm not too sure either. I only know that boss, Brother Yi, and Sister Xiao Xiao went out together. I think they went to look for you. Have you guys met? Ningxi's mouth twitched. Eldest senior brother and third senior sister also went? What the hell are these guys doing? Ningxi pinched the space between her eyebrows. I actually have another favor to ask of you. I hope you can help me return 2 things to Satan. Based on his personality, it's very likely that he won't accept it. Just help me secretly put it back in his room. Actually, I was going to do it myself, but you know, I really don't want to go to that damn place you guys live. Chapter 1207. Annie looked at the things Ningxi gave her. She seemed to have a lot to say, but probably felt it was useless to say it. In the end, she just said, okay. Brother Shi, I'll put it back for you. Thanks. In a gloomy villa on the outskirts of the city, Annie remembered Ningxi's instructions. As soon as she returned, she quietly pushed open the door of a room. Boss shouldn't be back at this time. The house was quiet, and there was no light. She felt her way to the cabinet quietly, and wanted to put something into the cabinet secretly. She was going to put it in the cabinet secretly. However, as soon as she opened the cabinet door, the candle on the wall lit up, and she suddenly heard a faint voice. Little bait, what are you looking for? Ah. Annie jumped up in fright. She looked at the man leaning on the bed behind her, and her face turned pale. No. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not stealing. I'm just... hand. The man's voice was extremely cold. Annie had no choice but to take out the diamond and crown from the bag to show her innocence. Seeing those 2 things, the man immediately understood, and his aura suddenly became cold. The other one. Annie could only put the things in her right hand on the bed. From the transparent plastic bag, she could see the cookies in various cute shapes inside. Leave the right hand and throw away the left. Did he mean that she should leave the cookies and throw away the others? But the cookies were given to me by Brother Shi. Annie looked reluctant. The man looked at her coldly. Annie was so scared that she immediately threw away the cookies and ran away. Oh, how could she do this? Those were the cookies given to me by Brother Shi. Peach Blossom Doc. Ningxi asked Annie to send the things back and finally put an end to one of her worries. After a whole day, she was almost dead tired. After entering the room, she changed into slippers, threw the bag on the sofa, and began to take off her clothes while walking to the bedroom. When she walked to the bedroom, she threw away her coat, took off her stockings, pulled out her bra, and threw it away with a swish. She let out a comfortable sigh, and then threw her whole body on the soft and fluffy big bed. But as soon as she threw herself, she was stunned. Why did it feel wrong? This hard, warm, full of explosive power. What's going on with the touch of his skin? Did my quilt turn into a spirit? Ningxi's claws lifted up from the warmth, as if she had been electrocuted. Then she fumbled for the switch of the bedside lamp. In an instant, the lights in the bedroom brightened. Then she saw. The Demon King was leaning against the bed, wearing a pair of silver-rimmed glasses. Beside him was a book that she had thrown away. At this moment, the man was wearing pajamas. His hair was slightly wet, and he looked like he had just taken a shower. His pajamas had been completely torn by her, revealing a large area of his honey-colored skin. This lazy and leisurely attitude, which was the complete opposite of his usual aloof and abstinence, was simply irresistible. Ningxi touched her pounding heart, and her breathing was a little unstable. Lu Tingxiao, why are you here? You scared me. The man lifted the blanket next to him, and his deep voice lingered in her ears. Come here. Ningxi swallowed her saliva and crawled over. She raised her head to look at the man above her head with sparkling eyes. Sweetheart, what's going on? Why are you suddenly so enthusiastic? Not only did she warm his bed, but she also slept with him. The man raised an eyebrow. You don't like it? Chapter 1208. Ningxi shook her head like a rattle. How is that possible? How could she not like him? It was just that her heart couldn't take it. As if satisfied with this answer, the man planted a kiss on the girl's forehead, and then lingered on to the corner of her lips. Bit by bit, like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water, the seemingly gentle kiss was like a surging tide that would erupt in the next second. Ningxi's fingers reached into the hair that was kissing her sensitive collarbone. She was acutely aware that the man wasn't as calm as he appeared to be. Could it be that the great demon king knows what happened today? She had only attended a charity dinner. Logically speaking, Lu Tingxiao couldn't have known everything since he was so busy with work. However, he had the king of gossip Lu Jingli by his side, so there was a high chance that he knew. Which one do you like more? The man asked again. Ningxi's heart skipped a beat. Damn. He knew. Lu Jingli was such a blabbermouth. Damn it, I'll deal with him later. It's more important to coax my wife first. Ningxi turned over and pressed the man under her. What do you like more? There's no more. I only like you. I only like you. The dangerous look in the man's eyes turned into a burning flame, and he tightened his grip on her waist. Lu Jingli, that blabbermouth. What nonsense is he spouting now? I've already asked someone to return the fan's gift, and the bracelet that was auctioned off wasn't something that I wear all the time. It was something that Xiao Tao bought for me. I'm a married man and I only accept gifts from my sweetheart. Ningxi seemed to have realized something as she spoke. She chuckled. So, you're suddenly so passionate today. So it's for me a gift? TSK, if I had known that I could get benefits this way, I would have hired a few more fans to make you jealous a few more times. Are you sure you can take it? The man looked at her meaningfully. Ningxi's heart trembled. She laughed dryly. I was just saying. When will the movie be released? The man looked at her, and suddenly asked. Ningxi was startled by the sudden change of topic. To her ears, the question was like asking, when are you going to marry me? After a short moment of absent-mindedness, Ningxi came back to her senses. I spoke to Director Shen on the phone yesterday. He said that it will be released next week. Shall we go and watch it together? She already regretted that she didn't get to watch Under the Heavens with the Devil. Now this movie was even more rare. It was filmed with the devil, so it was even more memorable. Lu Tingxiao nodded. Yes. Right, the movie that was snatched away by Liang Biqin is premiering tomorrow. For the past few days, there has been explosive publicity and hype. They say that the script is exquisite, the production is excellent, the special effects are awesome, and there are superstars. They say that any passerby is a best actor. When the time comes, it will definitely break box office records. I'm going to check out the situation tomorrow and see how the filming is going. But I don't want to contribute to her box office. Ningxi murmured. Lu Tingxiao moved the laptop over and clicked on it. Then, a movie started playing on the screen. It was Liang Biqin's I Only Like You. Ningxi's eyes widened. Damn. Boss, you're too awesome. You even got the negatives? Moreover, it's super clear. Chapter 1209. The movie hadn't even been released yet, but Lu Tingxiao had already gotten the negatives. It was obvious that he had done it for her. Ningxi sighed emotionally. We're watching Liang Biqin's movie on such a beautiful day. It's such a waste. What do you want to watch? Lu Tingxiao asked. Ningxi seemed to have thought of something. She chuckled and touched her chin. We should watch some action movies, something like that. Wouldn't it be better? The man glanced at her. Do you think I need to watch that when you're by my side? Ningxi was speechless. The devil was getting more and more cunning. She realized that every time she teased him, she would be teased back. Ahem, let's watch the movie. Let's watch the movie. The movie was nearly 2 hours long, but Ningxi didn't fast forward it. To be honest, Ningxi didn't think it was as bad as she had imagined after watching it. Liang Biqin's movie wasn't as good as Shen Mian's, but it had a strong story and a novel theme. Otherwise, Ningxi wouldn't have liked it in the first place. After all, the script was there, and so much money had been spent on it. The effect was okay. From her professional point of view, there were many dangerous scenes with stunt doubles, and Liang Bichin's acting was a little awkward, but there weren't many problems. With so much money spent on the publicity and the support of so many big names, the box office would definitely be recovered. The above was from the perspective of the general public and the audience. Of course, if she were to look at it from her personal point of view and evaluation standards, this was a piece of trash. The actors' acting skills were not focused at all. Even the Best Actress and Best Actor veterans were not in their best state. It was as if they were playing a game, which made her furious. But that was how movies were made these days. Even if there wasn't a good quality, the box office could be made with publicity and star power. That was why directors and investors valued the actors' fame more than their acting skills. Boss, what do you think of Liang Bichin's movie? Ningxi looked up and asked for Lu Tingxiao's opinion. In the end, well, as soon as she raised her head, she met his eyes. Could it be that he hadn't watched the movie at all and had only watched her? Well, the Demon King's reaction seemed to represent his opinion of the movie. It's not attractive at all. Oh, Mr. Boss, when Director Shin called me yesterday, he asked me if I've been in contact with you recently. I mean Kamingyu. I think he wants to introduce you to an agent. Ningxi said. I'll arrange it later, Lu Tingxiao said. Ningxi's eyes lit up. You want an agent? You mean, you're not leaving after this film, and I'll still have a chance to film with you in the future? Lu Tingxiao glanced at her lightly. Don't you want to have sex with me? I will satisfy you. Holy shit. The Great Demon King's flirting was too much. Ningxi howled and pounced over. Oh my god. Previously, when I told Jiangmai that I wanted to keep you as my mistress, he even laughed at me and said that it would be the next life. I didn't expect that I would have such a chance in my lifetime. Sweetheart, I love you so much. Chapter 12:10. That night, in a private room of a high-end hotel in the imperial capital, the room was bustling with noise, and the atmosphere was very lively as people toasted each other. The director of I Only Like You Wu Kai, the producer, Liang Bichin, and the other main actors and crew were all present. A shrewd middle-aged man in an Armani suit was sitting in the main seat. He was Cui Zhihao, the manager of House of Millions Cinema. House of Millions Cinema ranked first in the national box office rankings with a revenue of 3.8 billion yuan. For a movie, the cinema manager could be said to be in control of the movie's first day of screening. Once Cui Zhihao was settled, the guarantee of the box office was almost half a success. In the circle, in order to get a higher number of screenings, accompanying people for meals and drinks were child's play. Naked bribery such as rebates and red packets had long become the norm in the industry, even in the first-tier imperial capital. At the dinner table, director Zheng Kongda enthusiastically toasted Cui Zhihao. Come, Manager Cui, let me toast you again. Our movie depends on you. Zheng Kongda said as he gave Liang Bichin a look. Liang Bichin immediately went over to pour a glass of wine for Cui Zhihao, her heaving chest rubbing against Cui Zhihao's arm. Another actress was not to be outdone, and flattered Cui Zhihao in a different way. I've long heard that as long as a film is favored by Manager Cui, it will definitely be a hit. Zheng Kongda immediately echoed. Manager Cui is the wind vane of our industry. On Cui Zhihao's left was Liang Bichin, and on his right was a beautiful second female lead. They hugged each other, their faces flushed. He laughed and said, What are you talking about, Director Zheng? Director Zheng's film has a novel theme and the audience is all young people. It's currently the main force in the box office. Not to mention the actors and actresses, the publicity is so awesome. Even if you didn't mention it, I would definitely give priority to it. Manager Cui, you're really overpraising me. In the end, you're the one who decides what film the audience wants to watch in the cinema. No matter how good our film is, it can't do without your support. Zheng Kongda saw that the atmosphere was about right, so he leaned over and secretly showed 5 fingers to Cui Zhihao. As long as Manager Cui fully supports me, I can make the decision here and give you this amount directly. Cui Zhihao saw the number Zheng Kongda showed, and his eyes immediately lit up. This meant that they were going to give him a 5% rebate. Under normal circumstances, If the film distributor wanted to cooperate with the cinema would increase the number of screenings of the film appropriately, but the premise was that they would receive a certain amount of box office rebates, also known as red packets. Most of the gray income fell into the hands of the theater managers. In the industry, the rebate in most cases was 3%, so Zheng Kongda's offer could be said to be very sincere. With Zheng Kongda's movie's investment, cast and popularity, a box office of 300 million yuan was guaranteed. According to the 5% rebate, he could get tens of millions of yuan. Thinking of this, Cui Zhihao immediately smiled and said, "Director Zheng, don't worry. I can give you this number." Cui Zhihao also showed Zheng Kongda 5 fingers. A 50% screening rate. Zheng Kongda immediately showed a satisfied and delighted expression. "Manager Cui, you're indeed straightforward. In the current market environment, if a film could occupy more than 30% of the screenings, it meant that it had 50,000 screenings per day. It was definitely at the level of a blockbuster. Even Hollywood blockbusters that were popular some time ago only had 50% of the screenings." Chapter 12:11. Cui Zhihao seemed to have thought of something as he revealed a suspicious expression. "But, Director Zheng, there's something I don't quite understand. Wasn't your film supposed to be released next month? Why did it suddenly move forward to this month?" Hehe. I wonder if Manager Cui knows that Shin Mian has a new film coming out recently? Zheng Kongda asked meaningfully. Cui Zhihao thought for a moment. Of course, the great director Shin knows about it. I was surprised before that director Shin actually released a new film without any news at all. I paid special attention to it, and found out that all the actors this time are newcomers. Zheng Kongda chuckled. Director Shin's film is very coincidental. The theme is also a youth comedy, and it's also a woman dressed as a man. I'm really afraid of Director Shin's reputation. The audience had preconceived notions. When 2 films with the same theme were released, they would generally prefer to see which one they would watch first. Although Zheng Kongda said that, in reality, his tone was full of mockery and disdain. Cui Zhihao immediately understood what Zheng Kongda meant. All these years, Zheng Kongda had always been suppressed by Shin Mian. It seemed like he was planning to use this opportunity to suppress Shin Mian in one fell swoop. Even if he wanted to release the film before Shin Mian, due to preconceived notions, he could have waited a little longer because the same theme would cause competition among the audience. However, Zheng Kongda purposely released the film 2 days later than Shin Mian's, and released it almost at the same time. It was obvious that he was planning to steal all the market share of Shin Mian's film, and directly suppress it to death. Shin Mian's film did not have a big shot or a backer. How could it compete with Zheng Kongda? It was almost a dead end. Cui Zhihao shook his head and said, "Hehe, Shin Mian is indeed amazing, but it's also a fact that the box office has been going downhill these years. It's almost impossible for it to regain its former glory. Now he's willfully produced such a low-budget film. Does he think he's still the Shin Mian from 10 years ago? Is the film market still the same as it was 10 years ago? It's not that I want to say this, but Director Shin really made a mistake this time. His long-accumulated reputation might be destroyed because of this film." Zheng Kongda poured a glass of wine for Cui Zhihao and asked casually, "How does Manager Cui plan to arrange Director Shin's schedule?" Cui Zhihao gave him a knowing look. "Of course, we'll do what we need to do. Our cinema isn't a charity, we're all here to make money. Even with Shin Mian's reputation, this movie obviously can't hold up at the box office. At most, we'll get a 10% screening rate." After the negotiation, both parties continued to drink and chat. Finally, both of them left in satisfaction. Liang Biqin said excitedly, "Director Zheng, you're amazing. With such a high screening rate, our box office definitely won't be bad." When the trailer first came out, because of the actor's popularity, there were a lot of Little Pink fans who praised and expressed their anticipation. However, there were also quite a few who scolded them for being cliched and brainless. At first she was a little worried. Hehe, of course. Don't overestimate the taste of the audience these days. The people who come to the cinema to spend money are getting younger and younger. They only know what's good and what's bad, and they're just here to watch the show. They'll watch whatever you arrange for them. Zheng Kangde said confidently. Liang Biqi nodded in agreement with Director Zheng's words. Of course, what made her feel better was that Shen Mian was doomed this time. Chapter 12:12. That damned Shen Mian. Last time, in order to defend Ningxi, she publicly reprimanded her on Weibo for being unprofessional and wanted to ban her. Now, she deliberately used Ningxi as the female lead and made a movie of the same genre. She was clearly going against her. She wanted to see who would be the one who would be kicked out of the industry in the end. Thinking about Shen Mian and Ningxi's fate, she felt extremely happy. This time, she killed two birds with one stone. Oh right, Director Zheng, Producer Wu, do we need to make arrangements for Huaying? The second female lead asked. They had already made arrangements for the top few cinemas, and only Huaying was left. Zheng Kangde's expression did not look too good at the mention of Huaying. He snorted and said, that bitch Huaying doesn't know what's good for her. We don't need to work with someone like her. It's enough that we've made some arrangements. If our movie becomes popular, she'll definitely give us more screenings. Director Zheng, do you think there's something wrong with the manager of Huaying? Didn't they say that she's ranked first in Hua Nation? The second female lead looked puzzled. The producer laughed disdainfully and said, this Feng Jiayue is good at business, but she doesn't know how to conduct herself. She's also stupid. She never accepts red packets, and doesn't even attend dinner parties. She thinks that she's virtuous, but in reality, she's broken the rules of the industry. Even the distributors don't want to deal with her. I see. That woman really doesn't know what's good for her. The next day, it was the official premiere of I Only Like You. Ningxi had already watched the finished film in advance, and had a general understanding of the quality of the movie. Therefore, she paid attention to the screening situation, the audience's comments online, and the ratings on the movie website. On the first day, Ningxi realized that the screening rate for this movie was shockingly high. It was comparable to the previous Hollywood blockbuster. The rating on the professional movie rating website, Shuriying, was not low either. It had a score of 76, which was considered very high among domestic movies. Not only that, but the audience's comments online were all praising the movie. Of course, there were some who scolded the movie for being melodramatic and brainless, but they were quickly drowned out by the praises of the movie's senior film critics. Needless to say, with such shoddy acting and quality, the producer's publicity team must have put in a lot of effort to achieve such results. Most of the investment for this film was not spent on the film itself, but on publicity and building relationships. On the third day, the box office results for I Only Like You were released. 1 billion. It had broken the 100 million mark. In the morning, in Shen Mian's office, Ningxi, Shen Hanchen, Jianshu Ji Yemeng, and the other main cast members were all there. On Shen Mian's desk was a chart of the box office sales. I Only Like You was in the top 3. At this moment, everyone already knew that their Dream Seekers would be released at the same time as I Only Like You. Furthermore, I Only Like You had exploded at the box office on the first day, so the atmosphere in the room was inevitably a little heavy. Ji Yemeng was furious. That Zheng Kangde clearly did it on purpose. Director, you've already asked around and avoided clashing with their films, but they actually secretly rescheduled it and deliberately released it before us. Of course it was on purpose. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that it was done on purpose. But now there was no other way. They could only meet force with force. The schedule had been confirmed, and it was going to be released soon. There was no way to change the schedule. Chapter 12:13. They were all newcomers. Although Ningxi had acted in Under the Heavens before, that was her only work. Fan loyalty was not high to begin with. Moreover, she had only released a new work after such a long time. The change in theme was so huge, so the impact on the box office was almost negligible. You guys can continue with the regular publicity as planned. I'll think of a solution to the theater's scheduling problem, Shen Mian said calmly. Since he was prepared to take this path, he had naturally foreseen everything that was happening now. Everyone looked at each other, knowing that the situation was not optimistic. Zheng Kangde's movie had a shockingly high scheduling rate, and had almost taken over the entire market. It was harder than ascending to the heavens to cut a bloody path out of it. Although they did not say it out loud, everyone was inevitably a little discouraged. They all knew that the quality of their film was miles ahead of Zheng Kongda's film. However, in the current film market, the quality of the film no longer seemed to be the key to the box office. No one knew this better than Shin Mian, the director. Because of this, Ningxi admired Shin Mian even more for cutting off all means of retreat this time. In the past, Shin Mian's films had always been fought over by all the major cinema chains. Even if things had not been very optimistic in recent years, the scheduling rate had never been lower than 30%. However, this time, without the big names and powerful investors backing them up, the final scheduling rate was less than 10%. Several of the cinema chains even had a scheduling rate of 5%, and all of them were silent before 12 a.m. and after 22 p.m. This was the result that Shin Mian had personally fought for from many sides. Finally, the day of the premiere of The Dreamseeker arrived. Ningxi checked the major cinemas in the Imperial City. Almost all of them were scheduled in the morning and at night. In the end, Ningxi bought tickets for the 22 p.m. movie. It was the weekend, so there were quite a lot of people out on dates and watching movies. However, because it was really late, there were only a few people left in the cinema. Among these people, most of them were there to watch I Only Like You. Under the circumstances that both films had the same theme, the audience would naturally choose the more popular one. At that moment, in front of the movie poster of I Only Like You, a man and a woman were discussing. "Baby, why don't you watch this? There are a lot of big names in it, and I heard it's quite funny," the man suggested. The girl mumbled unwillingly, "No, I don't like Liang Biqin. She's too pretentious. Also, she looks so scary in men's clothes." "Did I? I think it's okay. Anyway, I don't want to watch stupid movies. If you want to see it yourself." "Then what are we looking at? There aren't any good movies at this time. Let me see. Oh, Dreamseeker?" Leading roles: Ningxi, Shin Hanshin. I've never heard of them. But holy shit. The male lead in this poster is way too handsome. He's totally my type. This gaze. This temperament. Just look at this. In the poster of Dreamseeker, there was a man and a woman, but in reality, the man was not the male lead, but Ningxi. One was Ningxi in men's clothes, and the other was Ningxi in women's clothes. Those who didn't know would misunderstand that one was the male lead, and the other was the female lead. The man seemed a little speechless. But this seems to be a retarded drama. Cut the crap. It's still a brainless drama. At least the handsome main actor is pleasing to the eyes. Chapter 12-14. In the end, the young couple bought the tickets for Dreamseeker. Ningxi didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she saw this scene. "Sigh, I didn't expect my brother to seduce an audience with his looks." Lu Tingxiao ruffled the girl's hair and said nothing. "It will be popular." Ningxi burst into laughter. "Why are you more confident than me?" "Well, boss, are you going to open the back door for us?" "No need." Lu Tingxiao looked confident. Although capital can manipulate the market, it can never reverse the rules of the market. Excessive manipulation and violation of the rules of the market will inevitably lead to a backlash. Ningxi blinked her eyes and nodded repeatedly. She didn't understand. She just didn't understand. Ningxi took the man's arm and chuckled. "I don't know about capital or the market. I only know that water can carry a boat or capsize it. No matter how good the manipulation is, it can't be compared to following the public's will. The audience's choice will ultimately determine the fate of the film." Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl gently. "That's what I mean. You are very smart." "Haha, it's all because of boss's influence." After chatting with Lu Tingxiao, Ningxi was in a better mood. She went to the front desk to buy popcorn and drinks, and then went into the screening hall happily, enjoying this rare date. Before entering the screening hall, Ningxi looked at the screening hall next door where I Only Like You was playing. It was about half full. For a night show, this was a very good attendance. Today was the third day of the screening of I Only Like You. The internet was full of discussions about this film, whether good or bad. In short, it was very popular. However, Ningxi paid special attention to it. Unlike the day of the premiere, which was full of good reviews, the ratings and reputation of this film kept declining in the next 2 days. This was also one of the rules of this kind of shoddy commercial film. Under the powerful operation of the distributor, the box office on the first day would basically explode. However, once the audience saw it and had their own evaluation, the real reputation would immediately begin to show. This was absolutely impossible to fake. Do you want to fake the ratings? That would instead cause the audience to lower their scores and scold them even more. An hour ago, Ningxi refreshed the ratings of this movie on Sharing website. In just 2 days, it had dropped from 76 points on the first day to 65 points. There were also a lot of comments on the internet about domestically produced movies like this. However, whether it was the producers or the theaters, they did not care about it at all. This was because everyone was used to the fact that the audience would continue to watch while complaining. All commercial films were of the same quality. If you did not watch this, there was nothing else to watch. In this day and age, it was fine to be scolded. The only scary thing was that there was no one to scold you. You can scold all you want, but the producers will still make money from you. Ningxi and Lu Tingxiao found seats in the last row, from which they could see how many people were in the cinema. When the movie started, Ningxi counted. There were only 7 pitiful people in the entire theater. Other than her and Lu Tingxiao, there was the young couple from earlier, a pair of school-looking girls, and a woman in her 30s in a champagne-colored dress suit. She came alone and sat in the row in front of them. Chapter 12:15. Ningxi could understand the couple and the 2 students, but she couldn't help but be curious about the female audience member in the front row who was dressed like an elite. This kind of elite group didn't look like they would watch this kind of teen idol drama, right? However, no one said that elites couldn't watch teen idol dramas. In fact, modern society was so stressful that everyone liked to watch some relaxing and enjoyable dramas after work. The audience of their movie was actually very wide, not just limited to teenagers. Ningxi observed the other 2 pairs of audience members. The 2 young couples sat in the right corner. The man didn't seem to be interested in the movie, and was completely there to accompany his girlfriend. He buried his head in his phone, and the girl was eating popcorn while looking at the big screen casually. It seemed like she didn't have any expectations. As for the 2 students sitting in the middle, these 2 people brought a lot of food and drinks, and they were already eating nonstop even before the movie started. She didn't know if they were here to watch a movie or to have a picnic. When the movie was about to start, 2 more people came in. A man and a woman. The man was tall and wore sunglasses and a mask. He walked straight to the last row, and Ningxi actually knew the woman next to him, Shen Hanshen's agent, Cheng Yanan. Previously, Shen Hanshen wanted to poach her to Fengxing Media and gave her Cheng Yanan's business card, but the devil threw it away. Needless to say, the man next to Cheng Yanan was undoubtedly Shen Hanshen. She didn't expect to see Shen Hanshen coming to watch the premiere in person. Oh no. She couldn't let him find out that she was with Lu Tingxiao. Fortunately, Ningxi and Lu Tingxiao's seats were the most remote, and the 2 people didn't notice them at all. They randomly found 2 seats in the last row and sat down. Ningxi whispered in Lu Tingxiao's ear. Lu Tingxiao, the 2 people who just came in, seemed to be Shen Hanshen and his agent. Yeah. Lu Tingxiao nodded, indicating that he saw them too. Ningxi held her forehead. What the? There are 9 people in total, and almost half of them are our own people. She was really drunk. She didn't know what to say anymore. Finally, the advertisement on the big screen ended, and the movie began to play. The first scene of the movie was the scene where Ningxi gave Shen Hanshen a show of strength when she first acted with him. Because this scene was the first act of the movie, it was very important. The 2 of them had to have an equal aura. At that time, they had been filming for a whole day, and Shen Hanshen was almost killed by her. Later on, because of this, he had always been dissatisfied with her. It was only when he saw her cross-dressing that he realized she was a girl. Now that he thought back to the situation when he was filming, even though it was unpleasant, he still felt nostalgic. It was as if those things had happened just yesterday. In the blink of an eye, the movie had already been released. The young couple in front of them looked at the screen absent-mindedly. The two students were like squirrels eating nonstop. The female elite crossed her arms over her chest and did not move at all. Accompanied by the sound of orchestral music, the scene of a banquet appeared on the big screen. At the end of the spiral staircase, two men, one in black and one in white, one in front and one behind, one dignified and the other leisurely, were slowly walking down. Halfway down, the man in front turned back and said something to the young man. The camera zoomed in, and the young man raised his eyebrows slightly. He glanced sideways at the man and curled his lips into a faint smile. At that moment, there was a bang. It was as if there was a dazzling firework that exploded in the minds of the audience who saw this scene. Chapter 12:16. What kind of feeling was that? It was a feeling that transcended gender, age, and everything else. The big screen was the biggest test for actors, because even the slightest flaw would be magnified countless times. However, the young man in the movie seemed to be born for the big screen. Everything was perfect and flawless. Shen Hanchen couldn't help but be stunned, even though the other person in the movie was himself. Even though he had done this scene countless times and knew every detail like the back of his hand, however, when he watched it again as a member of the audience, he was still completely attracted by the young man on the screen. Ah, he's really handsome. He's even more handsome than on the poster. I told you I didn't make the wrong choice. A girl exclaimed in front of him. Then the girl muttered suspiciously, but the man in the black suit next to her is not bad either. Is he a supporting male character? Shen Hanchen recovered from the amazement. I'm the male lead. The girl's boyfriend also seemed to be in high spirits. I'm a man, but I was captured in seconds just now. That gaze is simply amazing. The two female students in the middle were even more excited than the girl. Aw, so handsome, so handsome. I didn't expect there to be such a handsome newcomer in the entertainment circle. Oh, I feel like I smell a hint of gay love. Me too. Me too. Wow, so gay. They were actually two fujoshis. Although there weren't many people in the theater, everyone was quite representative. Then the attention of the 5 audience members was obviously focused on the movie. As the movie progressed, when they found out that the woman in the white suit was actually the female lead dressed as a man, there was another wave of excited exclamations in the theater. Ah, that's the female lead. That's actually the female lead. Oh my god. There's actually a woman so handsome, oh my god. She's not giving us men a way out. Where's my sketchbook? Where's my little notebook? It's over, it's over. Inspiration is gushing out. I feel like I can fight 100 doujinshi from this movie tonight. The girl excitedly took out a sketchbook and a pen from her bag. It seemed like she was an artist. In the next hour or so, there were only a few people in the theater. Except for the female elite in front of Ningxi, the audience was relatively quiet. The young couple and the 2 female students didn't stop screaming from the beginning to the end. During this period, the 4 of them even apologized to them shyly. They were so excited that they couldn't control themselves anymore. Especially the 2 female students. They would excitedly hug each other and exclaim once every 3 minutes. What was worth mentioning was that 2 audience members came in midway. They seemed to have come late, and their faces were full of regret. They even muttered that they had to come back tomorrow to watch it again. After the movie. That night, the female artist continued to crazily promote Dreamseeker, that she watched tonight on her QQ Space, WeChat Moments, Weibo, Twitter, and other places. She even added her own doujinshi. I found a really good movie tonight. It's called Dreamseeker. You guys have to go watch it. I must go and see it. I must go and see it. Important things must be repeated 3 times. I believe you will come back and thank me after reading it. The female artist was a little famous in the circle. She often drew doujinshi from popular movies or novels. She had a large number of loyal fans. Chapter 12:17. After seeing their favorite late-night Amway movie, the fans were all very curious. Wow, Darren is actually recommending a movie. And it's a domestic TV series. Didn't Darren say he would never watch domestic TV series again? Fuck. I went to search for the trailer for Dreamseeker. The female commander is going crazy. The plot is also very interesting. I'll definitely watch it tomorrow. I'll go too. I don't have anything I want to watch recently. Darren's recommendation will definitely not go wrong. The female painter's boyfriend's status updates were all about lovey-dovey. Tonight, he posted something related to a movie. I watched a movie today. It's called Dream Seeker. The female lead in the movie is super awesome. She can switch between a goddess and a male god with just some makeup. Actually, when a girl is handsome, men really don't have anything to do with her. Especially those who just finished watching I Only Like You. I suggest you watch this Dream Seeker. You'll know that without comparison, there's no harm. There were 2 pictures attached to this status update. They were 2 pictures taken directly from the movie. One was the female lead in female clothing, and the other was the female lead in male clothing. As for the 2 female students, they lived near the theater. They had already made plans to come over another day to watch it. Of course, they were also recommending it in their various groups. The same thing happened to many of the audiences who happened to see the movie today. Although the number of people who watched the movie on the first day was very low, almost everyone who watched the movie began to spread it by word of mouth after they came back. Like a spark, it quietly spread to every corner. After the movie, the woman in the champagne-colored dress left the theater expressionlessly. The woman walked briskly as she immediately made a phone call. Hello, Deputy Manager Zhang. General Manager Fong. It's so late. What can I do for you? A man's respectful voice came from the other end of the phone. What's the current screening rate for Dream Seeker? The woman went straight to the point. Dream Seeker? The person on the other end of the phone probably didn't have any impression of it, and couldn't remember which movie it was. Shen Mian's new movie, the woman reminded. Ah, Director Shen's new movie? The person on the other end of the phone finally remembered. Please wait a moment, I'll check. I found it. The screening rate is about 5%. The woman frowned. So low. The person on the other end of the phone hurriedly said, Mr. Fong, you might not know this, but although Shin Mian is directing this film, it's a low-budget production with only a few million yuan in investment. The cast is all new faces, and the only female lead who has worked before is also playing a female lead for the first time. There's no cast, there's no topic, and there's no big company. There's no way the box office can hold up. The 5% is only for Shin Mian's sake. Have you seen this film? The woman asked. The person on the other end of the phone was stunned for a moment. No, but I've definitely considered all the factors. As professionals, they would have a basic prediction before the screening of a movie, and then estimate the number of screenings. However, nowadays, everyone only paid attention to the movie, and almost no one actually watched the content of the movie. This was already the norm in the industry, and there was nothing strange about it. After hearing this, the woman did not say anything. She said directly, tomorrow, increase the screening rate of this film to 60%. Chapter 12:18. WH. Why? How much? An incredulous voice came from the other end of the line. Manager Fong, did you make a mistake? Or are you talking about director Zhang Kangda's I Only Like You? Did you accidentally mix up the two films? The woman's voice was calm. I'm not mistaken. It's Shin Mian's Dream Seeker. But that's impossible. Currently, 50% of the screenings for I Only Like You are already available. How could 60% be given to Dream Seeker? Do you need me to teach you how to reduce the screenings for I Only Like You? I want to see the new schedule tomorrow morning. The woman said resolutely, and then hung up the phone. On the way home, Ningxi was sitting in the front passenger seat. She propped her head up with her hand and looked at Lu Tingxiao. Although the audience is small, the reaction is quite good. The entire movie had a breaking point almost every few minutes. If it's a high attendance, the effect will be great. But the female audience member in front of us is so calm. She doesn't have any reaction. Does she not like this type of film? Lu Tingxiao glanced at the girl in the rearview mirror and said, whether she likes it or not, you'll find out tomorrow when you pay attention to the screenings for Dream Seeker. Ningxi was startled. Huaying screenings? What do you mean? Lu Tingxiao said, That woman is the general manager of Huaying, Feng Jiayue. Ningxi was dumbfounded. Damn. She's the general manager of Huaying Cinema? Why didn't you tell me just now? Lu Tingxiao said. I didn't see her face. Okay. Knowing that the mysterious female audience member was Feng Jiayue, Ningxi was a little nervous. Sigh, I don't know if she likes it or not. It'll be terrible if she doesn't. The screenings for this film are pitifully low to begin with. Oh. I'm so nervous. Boss. Do you think she'll like it? Lu Tingxiao said yes. Why are you so sure? Although Ningxi was happy to hear that, she was still curious as to why Lu Tingxiao was so sure. Lu Tingxiao glanced at the girl and said meaningfully, if the general manager of Huaying is a man, there's a 70% chance he'll like this film. If it's a woman, there's a 100% chance. Ningxi was speechless. Thank you so much for thinking so highly of my flirting skills. The next day. Today was the 4th day of I Only Like You's screening, and the 2nd day of Dream Seeker's screening. On the internet, I Only Like You had become a hot topic. During this time, as long as people talked about movies, they would talk about this domestic urban drama with the highest investment this year. As for the box office, it had always been very strong. At present, it had broken 300 million yuan, and the screening rate of the major cinemas had always been high. Naturally, everyone was willing to give more screenings to movies that were profitable. The only one that had a strange screening schedule that was out of place with the other cinema chains was Huaying Cinema Chain. At this time, in the conference room of the Shadow Company's building, the company's top management was in the middle of a meeting. In the meeting, everyone's expressions were not very good. Feng Jiayue's order last night had caused a huge uproar in the company today. Chapter 12-19. Inside the conference room of Shadow Cinema, the leading shareholder questioned fiercely on the spot, General Manager Feng, all the cinema chains know that Zhengkongda's films are the most profitable. I don't know what kind of consideration you have for you to make such a ridiculous decision. You've severely reduced the ranking of Zhengkongda's films in all the cinema chains, and forcibly increased the ranking of Dream Seekers, which has no popularity at all, to such an outrageous figure of 60%. I hope you can give us a reasonable explanation for this. Otherwise, we won't be convinced. The other shareholders and senior executives nodded in agreement as they listened to him. Even if you believe in Shen Mian's ability and think highly of this film, a ranking of 10% is already very good, but 60%? You're simply messing around. Even the Hollywood blockbuster, A Life and Death Struggle, only had a screening rate of 60%. What right does this sloppy comedy have to have such a screening rate? General Manager Feng, we acknowledge your professionalism, and we also acknowledge that you've successfully predicted many dark horses and unpopular films in the past. But this time you've really been too hasty. Today's data is enough to prove that this decision was a huge mistake. Dream Seekers' occupancy rate is currently less than 10%. Just today alone, Shadow Cinema has already suffered heavy losses. This is simply sending consumers directly to other cinemas. We request that the screening rate be adjusted immediately to prevent further losses. Because Feng Jiayue did not accept red packets or attend any dinner parties, there were many shareholders and executives who had opinions about her, not only in the industry, but also in the company. They felt that she was limiting the company's development. Opening a cinema was to make money. What was the use of just having a good reputation? Even if she successfully excavated 10 high-quality unpopular films, the profits would not be comparable to the profits of a commercial blockbuster. This caused Shadow Cinema's performance to hover around the middle of the industry, never able to rush to the top. Deputy General Manager Zhang Yong looked at Feng Jiayue, who was being attacked by the shareholders. He was gloating in his heart, but on the surface, he looked like he was in a difficult position. When I received President Feng's call last night, I was also very surprised and tried to persuade him, but President Feng's attitude was very firm. I could only choose to believe in President Feng's judgment. In the end, I didn't expect today's data, sigh. President Feng, what is your attitude on this matter? You should at least give us an explanation. Seeing that Feng Jiayue did not speak, The people below began to impatiently urge her. On the main seat, Feng Jiayue's gaze swept across everyone calmly. Then she said, I have received everyone's questions and doubts. Just as everyone heaved a sigh of relief, Feng Jiayue continued, However, I do not intend to change my decision. What? You still don't want to change after suffering such a loss? What is this woman trying to do? Do you even care about the rights and interests of the shareholders? Does she think the company belongs to her alone? In the face of everyone's condemnation, Feng Jiayue continued, In 10 days, if it is proven that I made the wrong decision, I will resign as the general manager. As soon as Feng Jiayue finished speaking, the crowd burst into an uproar, especially Vice President Zhang Yong. His eyes were filled with joy when he heard this. If Feng Jiayue stepped down, then it was very likely that it would be his turn. Chapter 12:20. He had had enough of being suppressed by this woman. Not only did she not accept bribes, but she also demanded that her subordinates comply. He could only watch helplessly as his peers reaped the benefits. Unfortunately, Feng Jiayue had a good reputation in the industry. Although her company was not among the top, it was always in the top 10. He could not do anything to her. He did not expect Feng Jiayue to do something so brainless this time. Heh, what a joke. 10 days? That unpopular film would at most be the stuff of a 3-day tour. 3 days later, it might not even have a 1% occupancy rate. By that time, all the screening halls would be empty. That scene, TSK, was really something to look forward to. However, he still had to thank this film. It made Feng Jiayue fall for it for some reason, and it also gave him the opportunity to rise up. After Feng Jiayue said this, she turned around and left the conference room, not caring what the shareholders thought of her. If this had been a few years ago, she would have given them a long explanation and analysis of the film, and told them why she was so optimistic about it. But now, she would not waste her breath. Because these people did not understand movies, no matter how much she said, it would be like playing the lute to a cow. Yes, most of the people in the television industry knew nothing about movies. It was this group of people who controlled the film market and toyed with the taste of the audience, so that Chinese movies could not be compared to foreign movies. As a result, foreign blockbusters were always the ones making money in China. At the same time, Zheng Kongda was talking to the producer, Wu Kai. Old Wu, how is it? Because our box office performance was very good in the past 3 days, the screening rate at all the major cinemas is still very high. Our film has the highest screening rate of all the films in the same period. But what? Zheng Kongda frowned. But there is one cinema chain that is an exception. Oh? Which one? Zheng Kongda asked with interest. Wu Kai answered, Huaying Cinema Line. When I was compiling the data, I found that Huaying Cinema reduced our screening rate to 5% and increased Dream Seekers to 60%. What? How much did you say? Zheng Kongda looked surprised. 60%. Zheng Kongda's face darkened. This Feng Jiayue. Is she crazy? Could it be that she's taking revenge on me because I'm the only one who didn't pay attention to her? Heh, how interesting. Wu Kai shook his head and said, Based on Feng Jiayue's personality, I don't think she would do such a thing. This might seem inconceivable to others, but it's quite normal for her. She often did this kind of thing. She would suddenly give a very high screening rate to unpopular movies, but this time, it was especially high. Those films that she's interested in have quite a high probability of being an upset. Otherwise, she wouldn't have gotten the title of China's #1. Hee, I'm afraid her reputation will be ruined this time. Zheng Kongda sneered. Wu Kai also had a look of ridicule on his face. That's for sure. I've checked Huaying's figures today. They've given us such a high screening rate, but the attendance rate for Dream Seeker is terrible. Not many people are going to watch it. To be honest, I really don't understand either. Even if this kind of unpopular film is popular because of its good reputation, it's still relatively unpopular. No matter how popular it is, it can't even compare to 1/10 of a commercial film. She's simply wasting her resources by giving these films slots. Chapter 12:21. Zheng Kongda looked pleased. She made such a big fuss this time. I don't believe that Huaying's shareholders won't have any objections. I don't think she'll be able to stay on as the general manager for long. Just as Zheng Kongda and Wu Kai confidently predicted that Feng Jiayue would definitely fail this time, on the internet, a huge energy with great potential was quietly fermenting and spreading. Time passed in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, it was the third day of the screening of Dream Seekers. Huaying's occupancy rate was still not high, but it did not fall below 1% as Zhang Yong had expected. In fact, it even increased quite a bit. At night, after a busy day, people returned home from work and casually scrolled through Weibo. Suddenly, they discovered that, on the Weibo trending list, there was a film that no one was familiar with. Its name was Dream Seekers. The Weibo headline was posted by a girl who was painting hands. This Weibo post was excitedly promoting a movie called Dream Seekers, and accompanied it with a doujinshi manga that she had drawn. The content of the manga was a classic hilarious scene from the movie. The girl's Weibo followers were less than 30,000. In fact, it was not a lot, but because the clip in the manga was so loving, the number of reposts snowballed. Especially because a few famous people in the circle also reposted it, saying that they had seen the movie. While promoting it, they all began to draw doujinshi. Just in the top 10 trending lists on Weibo, there were 3 famous artists whose Dream Seekers doujinshi were trending. Just like that, Dream Seekers began to spread in the artist circle, and then spread unstoppably to other circles. By 10 o'clock in the evening, the trailer posted on the official Weibo of Dream Seekers had been pushed to the top trending list by enthusiastic netizens. Below it, there were voices saying that they would go to the cinema tomorrow to watch the movie. Ow, 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 ow. Oh my god. Why did I only find out about this movie now? Just the trailer alone is enough to make my wolf blood boil. I'm already bent like a mosquito coil. If anyone touches me, I'll go to heaven. What does it feel like to be turned gay by a handsome man? Go watch Dream Seekers and you'll know. Hee hee. Those who have already watched it in the cinema 3 times say that the female lead is too fucking amazing. She's already bent like a boomerang. Wallcracked recommends you guys to watch it. It's unbelievable that this film was so cold before. Is there even a need to ask? This film is all directed by newcomers, and the promotion is low-key, so naturally, there isn't much attention. It's not like a certain drama that's currently airing, where people buy trending searches and even spend their own money to buy box office tickets. They've squeezed out all the really good movies. A few days ago, I praised Liang Bichin's retarded drama to the skies. Please go and watch Dream Seeker. You will hear the sounds of pa pa pa. That's the sound of a slap on your face. Just like that, Dream Seekers suddenly appeared out of nowhere with unstoppable momentum, exploding in every corner of social media. Initially, netizens who had no idea about this drama felt that it was pretty good after watching the trailer, while others felt that it was just a melodramatic comedy and that the comments were too exaggerated. But no matter what, because of the high ratings on the internet, the public's curiosity had been aroused. Most people said that they must go to the cinema tomorrow to see what was going on. Chapter 1222. In the past, when the internet was not yet widespread, the public could only get information through newspapers, television, and radio stations. However, such media were easily controlled by organizations or even individuals. Now, it was the era of the internet. The number of netizens in China was as high as 800 million, and all kinds of new media were springing up like mushrooms after a rain. The power of the internet was beyond imagination and extremely difficult to control. After just one night of fermenting on the internet, the next day, a rather large number of audiences walked into the cinema for a low-budget, unhyped film like Dream Seekers that had almost no attention before. Once word of mouth spread, it would be much more effective than spending tens of millions on marketing and publicity. Late at night, at a cinema in the center of the imperial city, it was already past 9 o'clock in the evening. In the past, at this time, after the primetime movie had ended, the entire cinema would be almost empty. However, today was unusual. It was already this time, not a holiday, and there were no events, but the number of people in the cinema did not decrease. Instead, it increased. In the cinema, A group of young men and women gathered in groups of 3 or 4, discussing something enthusiastically. Usually, there's not even a shadow of a person at this time. Why are there so many people tonight? I thought it would be just the 2 of us, a girl said to her companion. Her companion was also a young girl. She looked at the people around her and said, "Many of them must be here for dream seekers like us, right? I heard a lot of people talking about it just now. The trailer is really good. I hope the actual movie won't be disappointed. It's just that there are too few showtimes for this film. Other than the one in the early morning, there's only this one in the middle of the night. We have to come here at night. Yet it'll be 12 o'clock after watching it. We still have to work tomorrow. We came all the way here for this film. If it's not good, it'll be a big loss." Not far away, a middle-aged man in a suit walked to the cashier with his hands behind his back. "Manager Zhou." "Good evening, Manager Zhou." Because there were many customers, the 2 cashiers were busy dealing with them. When they saw the middle-aged man, they hurriedly made time to greet him. The manager, whose surname was Zhou, waved his hand, indicating that she did not need to worry about him and continue with her work. It was not until 2200 hours that the 2 cashiers were finally done with their work. At this time, the manager walked up to ask, looking very satisfied. "Tonight's customer flow is not bad. Is the cinema having an event recently?" The 2 cashiers shook their heads when they heard that. One of them then said, "Manager, there's no activity recently." "What's going on?" Zhou Jihe asked. I took a look. More than 90% of the customers who came tonight are here to see the Dream Seeker. Another cashier replied. Zhou Jihe frowned when he heard that. Dream Seeker? Is it the one that's been discussed on the internet recently? Yes, there weren't many people watching the movie for the first 2 days. It seems like it became popular overnight. The cashier explained. Manager, it's not just the evening show. The attendance rate for the earliest show today is also very high. Usually, a hall can only seat a few people, but today, half of the seats are occupied. Another cashier said excitedly. Zhou Jihe had naturally seen some of the content related to this film on the internet. When he heard this, he revealed a thoughtful expression. Chapter 12:23. After chatting with the 2 employees for a while, Zhou Jihe personally went to the theater for Dream Seekers to take a look. At a glance, he saw that the attendance rate for the evening screening was even higher than the morning screening. The theater, which could accommodate about 100 people, was almost 70% to 80% full. With his many years of experience, he vaguely judged that this film had the potential to be a big hit. It was a pity that it clashed with Zhang Kongda's film. After leaving the theater, Zhou Jihe pondered for a long time, but in the end he still made a call. He called the manager of another theater to get some information. Hello, Director Zhang. Director Zhou, you're calling me so late. Don't tell me it's also about Dream Seekers? A teasing voice came from the other end of the phone. Also, it seems like someone has already looked for you. Zhou Jihe raised his eyebrows. Isn't that so? I just spoke to Director Zhao and Director Liang. Then what do you guys say? Are we going to change the screening schedule or not? Zhou Jihe asked the most important question. Director Zhou, the quality of Shen Mian's film is indeed not bad. If it was invested by a big company like in the past, we would definitely promote it. But the situation with this film, in this day and age, things like popularity on the internet are very fragile. The enthusiasm of netizens comes and goes quickly. How long can something that becomes popular overnight last? What's more, we have an agreement with Zhang Kongda. If it was any other film that became popular, it wouldn't hurt us to increase the screening schedule. But Shen Mian, she's Zhang Kongda's archenemy. Alright, Director Zhang, I understand. Zhou Jihe listened and hung up. It was not worth it to offend Zhang Kongda and his backer for an unknown future of Dream Seekers. Actually, it was easy to decide whether or not to change the screening schedule of Dream Seekers. They could just follow the direction of Cinema of 10,000. If the industry leaders did not make a move, they naturally would not make a move either. At the moment, it seemed that Cinema of 10,000 was completely on Zhang Kongda's side, and would definitely not make a move. The next day, Dream Seekers was even more popular on the internet than the day before. The rating on Shering website was as high as 86, and the positive rating was almost 100%. Everyone who had seen the film gave it high praise. The comments on all the film review websites and social media sites were being refreshed at a rapid pace. Because of the recommendation from many people on the internet, I risked not being able to get up from work the next day to watch Dream Seekers with my best friend in the middle of the night. In the end, it's really good. Not to mention 10 p.m., even if it was in the wee hours of the morning, it would not be a loss. I've already made plans with my best friend to watch the second time tomorrow. Dearest, from today onwards, I have a new Prince Charming. Chapter 12:24. I was mesmerized by the scene where he kissed the female lead on the balcony. I'm going to the cinema again for Lin Yu's sake. Oh, I'm also on the female lead and Lin Yu's side. Lin Yu's aura is super strong. He dotes on the female lead very much. Every time the female lead is in trouble, he's always by her side and helps her cover up her identity. What a pity. Why didn't the female lead choose Lin Yu in the end? It's not just the male lead and female lead, but also the male supporting characters. The female lead's close friend Ning Xiaoming and the male lead's funny best friend Jiang Xiaohai are all very likable. Ning Xiaoming's interaction with the female lead is also very cute. Jiang Xiaohai is the joke of the whole movie. I didn't have much hope when I first went to watch it, but I didn't expect it to be so good. To be honest, it's been a long time since I've seen a movie with a good script and all the actors' acting skills. This is the conscience of the industry. I recommend everyone to watch it with 5 stars. You won't be disappointed. The performances of the actors in this movie are all very good, but it's obvious that the core inspiration of the whole movie is the female lead. I only found out later that the female lead is Meng Chang'e from The World. I've been paying attention to her since she was filming The World. She's definitely not a pretty face like the rumors say. She's definitely good at acting. There's another very important thing. Didn't you all notice that the director of this movie is Shen Mian? Shen Mian made Stars, Sun, Moon and Love in the Future. These years, Shen Mian's movies have been getting worse and worse, and I've been disappointed many times. But this time, I'm really very excited. Shen Mian has finally returned. I really want to watch it from what you guys are saying, but it's so annoying. Why is the screening of our Dream Seekers not early in the morning or late at night? Workaholics can't watch it normally. We can only wait for the rest day. Actually, you can go and complain to the staff of the cinema or call to complain and ask them to arrange more screenings. If there are many people requesting it, the cinema will usually increase the number of screenings. While the discussion about Dream Seekers was in full swing on the internet, in a private room of a high-class hotel in the imperial capital, Zheng Kongde and Wu Kai called a few of the lead actors to accompany them and invited the managers of the major cinema chains. Their purpose was obvious: to ensure that they would not be affected by the comments online. After 3 rounds of drinks, under Zheng Kongde's various sugar-coated bombs and hints, a few cinema managers, led by Cui Zhihao, the manager of House of 10,000 Cinemas, expressed that Zheng Kongde's film would definitely not be affected, and the screening rate of Dream Seeker would definitely not change. After all, after spending so much money, they had to abide by the rules of the industry. Director Zheng, don't worry. I've seen this kind of method many times. The comments online are all interspersed with real and fake ones. Most of them are fake. In less than 3 days, this virtual fire will die down. That's right, Shen Mian is obviously struggling on her deathbed. However, 3 days later, over the past 3 days, the number of people watching Dream Seeker did not decrease at all. Instead, it became more and more popular. With less than 10% of the screenings in the major cinemas, the daily box office sales kept getting higher and higher. Finally, on this Saturday, the box office sales actually broke 100 million. What did it mean to have such a high box office sales with such a low screening rate? It meant that the attendance rate of Dream Seeker was shockingly high. All the cinemas, regardless of whether it was early in the morning or late at night, were all full. Chapter 1225. At the same time, the crazy suggestions and complaints from customers had almost drowned all the major cinemas. Every day, countless customers strongly requested to increase the number of screenings of Dreamseeker. Manager, what should we do? I've already received hundreds of calls today, requesting to increase the number of screenings for Dreamseekers. The same conversation was taking place in the offices of the major cinema companies. However, due to the pressure from Zheng Kongda's side, all the managers had reached a united front. In the face of the customers' requests, they insisted on not changing the screening rate, and still tried to force the customers to watch I Only Like You. The consequence of this was, by the weekend of the fourth day, all the netizens' love for Dreamseekers, as well as their anger towards stupid movies and cinemas, had reached its peak. While the popularity of Dreamseekers soared, Zheng Kongda's film was scolded by netizens. Liang Biqin, give me back my box office money. Before watching Dreamseeker, he didn't have such an intuitive feeling. After watching Dreamseeker, he realized that something that was shot in 10 days was not a movie at all. It was just a tool to make money. Liang Biqin's melodramatic comedy is completely vulgar in terms of aesthetics. It's not funny at all, and the audience is so embarrassed. Watching Dreamseeker was simply a spiritual cleansing. The trailer of I Only Like You gave off the feeling that we were a vulgar comedy. After watching it, I realized that it was not as good as the trailer. What a shitty movie. Is it not good to be alive? Why did she want to watch Liang Biqin's movie? What the hell? Why is the screening rate of Dreamseeker still so low? I wanted to book a ticket for Dreamseeker, but all I saw was Liang Biqin's retarded movie. There have been so many recommendations recently, and Dreamseekers is so popular. Why is the screening rate still so low? Are the people in charge of those cinemas blind? Is there anything you don't understand? It was obviously an under-the-table operation. Which one of those managers didn't get paid? Fuck. I don't know if I should say motherfucker. The stagnation of Hua Nation's film industry was caused by these people. Damn it. It's fine that you like to eat shit, but you're forcing us to eat shit as well. This was the Chinese film market. Get up. Those who didn't want to eat shit. Everyone protested together. No one should go to the cinema to watch that stupid movie. That's right. Boycott brainless movies. Retard movie, get out of the film industry. Zheng Kongda did everything he could to arrange the release date to be the same as a Dreamseeker. However, he never expected that in the end, not only would he not be able to squeeze a Dreamseeker to death, but he would also be caught in his own trap. Compared to a Dreamseeker, his own film was nothing good at all. The funniest thing was that Zheng Kongda had spent so much money to hype up I Only Like You, and now it was all to pave the way for Dreamseeker. This was because on the internet, as long as I Only Like You was mentioned, someone would definitely mention Dreamseeker as a comparison, causing the popularity of Dreamseeker to rise rapidly by stepping on the shoulders of I Only Like You. On the weekend, I Only Like You, which was scheduled for prime time in the major cinemas, was deserted. There were only a few people in the huge screening hall. However, when it came to the unpopular morning and afternoon showings, the entire theater would come alive again. As long as it was in the hall where Dreamseekers was being shown, the attendance rate would be as high as 100%. The entire theater was filled to the brim, and it was even difficult to get a ticket. Chapter 1226. In the theater. Zhou Zihe secretly looked at the packed theater. He looked at the audience in the theater who burst into laughter and screams of excitement from time to time. His expression was a little ugly. The deputy general manager next to him also looked worried. Director Zhou, are you really not going to increase the screening rate for Dreamseekers? Recently, our complaint phone has been exploding with calls. There are more and more attacks and doubts about us on the internet. Most importantly, the attendance rate for Zheng Kongda's movie is getting lower and lower. Especially today, it's the weekend. It should be the most crowded time, but the attendance rate is only 6%. More than half of our screenings have been given to Zheng Kongda. We've suffered heavy losses. What's the situation at the other theaters? Zhou Zihe asked in a low voice. The situation at the other theaters is similar, but there's one exception. Huaying? Yes. The deputy general manager nodded. Zhou Zhihe smiled bitterly when he heard that. I heard that on the second day of Dream Seekers, Fang Jiayue increased its screening rate to 60%. Such boldness. This Fang Jiayue is indeed worthy of being called China's #1. The deputy general manager also looked envious. Huaying must have made a killing these few days. The audience can't be seen in other theaters, but her theater has so many screenings, so they must have all gone there. Actually, I purposely went to one of Huaying's theaters in the city center to take a look. That popularity. The deputy general manager did not finish his sentence, but Zhou Zhihe could already imagine it. For the theater, the loss was not only in ticket money, but also in other incidental expenses brought about by the flow of customers. All of these added up was definitely not a small figure. At the same time, in a theater under Huaying in the capital, the entire theater was packed with people, and there was even a long queue. Because Huaying had given Dream Seekers the highest screening rate. Even in the middle of the night, all 6 theaters were open, and one of them was a super large theater that could accommodate 300 people. Even under such circumstances, some could not resist the enthusiasm of the customers. There were still many people who could not buy tickets, and were asking for them at high prices online. There were even scalpers. At that moment in the theater, most people were there to watch Dream Seekers, and many of them were there for the second, third, or even fourth time. Everyone had a common topic and were chatting enthusiastically. I finally got the tickets, I'm so excited. I didn't expect Huaying to have so many screenings. You guys only found out now? Huaying screenings have always been very high. I've always been watching from Huaying, and I've already recommended many people to come over. We only came because we saw online people saying that Huaying has a high ranking. It's just that it's too far from my home, but it's worth it. I'd rather drive 2 hours to see my brother Shi than see Liang Bichin's pretentious face at the door. Wow, I like brother Shi too. Have you added brother Shi's Weibo account? Yes, I have. It's a pity that there are no pictures of brother Shi in men's clothes on his Weibo, and he hasn't updated his status recently. What a pity. Everyone work hard to raise the box office. When the time comes, we'll ask brother Shi to give us men's clothing benefits. As Dreamseeker became more and more popular, the main leads in the movie also became famous, especially the female lead. Ning Shi's Weibo completely blew up. In the comments and private messages on Weibo, there were countless confessions and requests for Ning Shi to post photos of herself in men's clothes. Chapter 1227. Peach Blossom Doc. Ning Shi was reading the comments under her Weibo. In just a few days after Dream Hunter was released, Ning Shi's Weibo fans had exceeded 20 million, and it was still increasing. The fans spontaneously began to call Ning Shi Brother Shi. Of course, most of them called her Honey and Prince Charming. If Brother Shi posts a picture in men's clothes, I will swallow 5 boxes of shampoo, copy the entire news broadcast, split durians with my bare hands, smash stones with my chest, knock bricks with my head, bungee jump without a rope, catch blades with my bare hands, eat peeled oranges, and copy Chinese dictionaries, idiom dictionaries, English-Chinese dictionaries, Tao Te Ching 3-character classic, classic of mountains and seas 300 Tang poems, and 500 song poems. I'm so confident. Ning Shi, you are suspected of theft. Recently, many girls have reported that you have stolen their hearts. Now you will be punished as follows. You must take responsibility for your flirting. Otherwise, we will chase you to the ends of the earth. Honey, if you were uglier, I might want to go shopping with you, watch movies, eat Western food, take a walk, watch the stars and the moon, and talk about poetry and life philosophy with you. But you are so beautiful that I just want to sleep with you. What's the difference between a person who can't sleep with Brother Shi and a salted fish? Probably because Ning Shi's character in the film was so deeply rooted in people's hearts. Many people were even asking about Ning Shi's sexual orientation and wondering if she liked girls. Looking at the overwhelming number of comments saying that they wanted to sleep with her, and they were all girls, Ning Shi felt that it was a wonderful feeling. Lu Tingxiao, who was standing by the side, had also seen the comments. He said with a cold expression, Are girls nowadays so unreserved? Looking at Lu Tingxiao's serious face, Ningxi laughed. It's just a way for people to express their love. For example, I'm the same to you. Ningxi said, leaned close to the man's ear and whispered, sleeping with you is better than 10 miles of spring breeze. Sleeping with 1,000 beauties is better than sleeping with 1,000 beauties. Sleeping with you is better than sleeping with 1,000 miles of rivers and mountains. The man narrowed his eyes, turned over and pressed the girl under his body. You must take responsibility for your flirting. Damn it. The devil was imitating those fans' words. He was really putting what he had learned into practice. Ningxi said hurriedly, of course, no matter how much I flirt, I'll only be responsible for you. Besides, I like men. Don't tell me you don't know this. As soon as he finished speaking, the man forcefully kissed the girl's lips until the girl's lips were slightly red and swollen, before he was slightly satisfied. He thought he was able to look at all of this calmly, but reality proved that no matter how many times it happened, even if they were girls, he still couldn't stand seeing them covet his wife. However, this lass was getting more and more familiar with him, and she always had a way to resolve his frustrations. What he hated and hated the most was having his emotions controlled by others. However, in front of her, he was willing to endure it, and even enjoyed the feeling of being controlled by her. Ningxi thought of something and got up. Oh right, Lu Tingxiao, wait for me. I'm going to change. Help me take a photo. Director Shen said that our total box office earnings are about to break 500 million, so he needs us to give some benefits to the fans. I thought about it. The photos in men's clothing are the most popular, so it should be the most suitable. Chapter 12:28. Practice makes perfect. Ningxi changed her clothes very fast. Half an hour later, she had changed from a little white rabbit dressed in home clothes to a handsome and unrestrained Prince Charming who could seduce people to death. Ningxi chose a motorcycle outfit with messy short hair and a black Luding leather motorcycle outfit. In the movie, there was a scene where the female lead rode a motorcycle to flirt with a girl. At that time, the male lead had already vaguely sensed that he had a strange feeling for the female lead. When he saw his good buddy flirting with the girl, he actually felt jealous. Thus, he struggled in various ways, thinking that he had fallen in love with the man. This was also one of the classic popular scenes in the movie that the fans loved to talk about. For this scene, Ningxi even brought out her precious Xiaohei, which she had spent a lot of money to assemble and maintain. Dear, is my outfit okay? Ningxi messed up her bangs slightly and asked Lu Tingxiao, who was sitting on the sofa. Lu Tingxiao's gaze swept over the girl. Yes, do you have a camera? Ningxi shook her head. No need to be so troublesome. Just use your phone to take a picture. You don't have to be too deliberate. Although it's a pose, it's still a picture of life. I'll do a set of scenes later. Watch and take the picture. Lu Tingxiao nodded, and took out his phone to prepare to take a picture. Ningxi walked to the door, holding a handsome black helmet in one hand, and pushed the door open with the other. After putting down the helmet, he opened the refrigerator door, and took out a bottle of mineral water. After sitting down on the sofa, he seemed to have noticed that someone was filming him. While drinking, the young man suddenly raised his eyes toward the direction of the mobile phone's camera, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Click. This scene was fixed in the phone and in the man's eyes. Ningxi was about to continue when she saw the man suddenly walking towards her with his phone. She thought that Lu Tingxiao wanted to take a close-up shot, but the man was getting closer and closer. Huh? Wasn't this a little too close? In the next second, the man's arm was by her side, and he leaned over, his thin lips covering hers without warning. Her teeth were pried open, and then it was the wanton invasion of the city gate. The man's kiss was getting hotter and hotter. Ningxi blinked her eyes in confusion. Then, she panted slightly and pushed the man. Hey cameraman, why aren't you professional? The man's gaze deepened, and his low voice rang in her ears. You seduced me. Ningxi was speechless. She raised her eyebrows and said, Fuck. When did I seduce you? The man's reply was an even more intense kiss, as if he was accusing her of seducing him again a second ago. Although the photographer was too unprofessional and easily distracted, taking a photo on and off for more than 2 hours. The photographer's professionalism was still very good. Just now, Ningxi saw that he just casually pressed the shutter, but found that every photo he took made her look handsome. She was about to turn gay from her own handsomeness. Sure enough, the Demon King was reliable, flirting with her and taking pictures at the same time. Ningxi was very satisfied. She saved all the photos and would use them when she needed them. That was a great shot. I'm so happy to have a boyfriend who can take pictures. Ningxi gave the devil a kiss. Then she thought of something and her eyes lit up. By the way, Lu Tingxiao, your role as Lin Yu is also very popular. Many fans have come to my Weibo to ask you about it. Do you want to start a Weibo or something? While I'm out, I'm eating while watching a chapter of PDA. I'll continue when I get back. Chapter 1229. No, Lu Tingxiao said directly. Why? Ningxi did not understand. Lu Tingxiao glanced at the girl. I only want to please you. Ningxi was stunned at first, then she let out a cry, indicating that she had been shot in the heart. Fuck, I only want to please you? That's too against the rules. Alright, she had subconsciously started to plan for Lu Tingxiao's career, but she had forgotten that this big boss was not acting for the sake of acting. If the entertainment industry was a game, Ningxi was a player who worked hard to kill monsters to level up, and Lu Tingxiao was a godlike existence like the game manager. The next day the box office figures were released. The box office of Dream Seekers had steadily exceeded 500 million. I Only Like You was such a big production and publicity, and it was released 2 days earlier than Dream Seekers, but the box office was only slightly more than 500 million. Previously, after I Only Like You had exceeded 300 million, its growth had been very slow, and this was under the circumstance that Zheng Kongda and the others had spent money behind the scenes to buy the box office. On the other hand, the box office of Dream Seekers was rising rapidly. These days, other than shadow cinema, the screening rate for Dream Seekers was still very low on the surface, but in reality, after seeing the popularity of Dream Seekers, many cinemas could not help but secretly increase the number of screenings. For example, changing the small hall to a large hall, or changing the silent audience to a primetime screening. On the surface, the screening rate was still the same, but in reality, the number of people watching the movie had increased significantly. At first, because of Zheng Kongda, they had only used this method to secretly increase the number of screenings. But when they tasted the sweetness, when the figures for Dream Seeker were released in the morning, and when the news of Shadow Cinema's sales soaring from 8th place to 1st place was released, finally, all the cinemas could not sit still. Especially Cinema of 10,000, which had previously been in 1st place. They were filled with regret. Just because of Zheng Kongda, not only had they been scolded by the netizens, but they had also suffered heavy losses. Moreover, Shadow Cinema had taken advantage of the situation, and suddenly surpassed them. It was a huge loss. This time, no matter how much money Zheng Kongda tried to bribe him, Cui Zhihao could no longer listen. Director Zheng, you have seen the situation now. Because of you, I can no longer sit in my position as the general manager. No matter what, I have already done my best. Take a look at the comments online. It's not that I want to say this, but if the quality of your film was slightly better, it wouldn't have come to this. Not only did he ruin himself, but he also ruined the reputation of their cinema. How could Cui Zhihao not be angry? Zheng Kongda also knew that the current situation was irreversible, so he could only go back with a black face. Over the past few days, he had tried his best to suppress the movie theaters, and had hired a large number of internet water armies in an attempt to reverse public opinion. In the end, the more he tried to reverse the situation, the fiercer the netizens' backlash became. In the end, it even reached the point where anyone who spoke up for I Only Like You would be bombarded by everyone apart from the internet. Even the mainstream media had joined in. Almost all the front-page headlines were similar to this. Shen Mian, The King's Return, creates another legend, might break the domestic box office record. The nation's daughter-in-law has become the nation's Prince Charming. Ningxi, an actress who combines both idol and strength. I take you behind the scenes of Dream Seeker. Making a movie honestly. The crew of I Only Like You. buys fake reviewers and gets criticized by netizens. Chapter 1230. The more they suppressed it, the more intense the backlash. The public had long been enraged by the current state of domestic movies, and this time, Zhengkongda felt the backlash from the entire population. On the same day, all the cinemas under House of Thousand Cinema increased the number of screenings for Dreamseeker to 50%. Following that, the other cinemas also began to increase the number of screenings for Dreamseeker. Some cinemas even increased the number of screenings to 60 to 70 in order to recoup their losses. In the conference room of Huaying Company, compared to the tense atmosphere from a few days ago, all the shareholders' faces were filled with smiles. On the big screen in the conference room, it showed that Huaying Company's sales had soared to the top. The conference room was filled with compliments for Fang Jiayue. President Fang is indeed experienced. Those of us who don't know the industry can't do it. Not bad, because we increased the number of screenings for Dreamseeker. On the second day, everyone is now praising us for being the industry's conscience. The small losses in the first 2 days are not worth mentioning at all. This time, we jumped to the top of the industry because of President Fang's decisiveness. I heard that the other cinemas are also busy increasing the number of screenings. Haha, it's already been more than a week. It's too late to make up for it now. Haha, President Fang is indeed farsighted. I actually doubted President Fang's decision before. There are still many things that I need to learn from you. Deputy General Manager Zhang Yong, who had hoped to replace Fang Jiayue this time, had a pained fake smile on his face. How could he have known that this low-budget production would explode to such an extent? How could he have known that 10 years later, Shin Mian would create another legend? On Ningxi's side, she received a call from Shin Mian early in the morning. Xiaoxi, the box office has exceeded 500 million, but don't post the photos yet. I've asked Shin Hanshin to prepare the 500 million bonus. Leave yours for the finale. Post it when it exceeds 1 billion. 1 billion. Ningxi was a little confused. Why? You don't have confidence? Shen Mian's teasing voice came from the other end of the phone. Ningxi smiled and said, as long as we have Director Shen's words, it will be fine. In the staff area of Lu Corporation, in the pantry, a few girls were gathered together and complaining. Did you guys buy the tickets for Dreamseeker? No, our theater added a lot of screenings today, but they were all sold out in less than 2 hours. It's scary. I managed to get 2 tickets. 2 of my friends wanted to go with me, but they didn't manage to get one either. While they were talking, 2 people suddenly walked into the tea room. Brother Bear, Brother Xiao. Seeing the 2 personal bodyguards beside the CEO, the employees all greeted them politely. Without another word, Shi Xiao and Xiongji took out a bunch of movie tickets. They were all tickets for Dreamseekers. Everyone was a little confused. Take it and distribute it to everyone. I'll give it to you for free, Shi Xiao said with a face full of wealth. Let us know if it's not enough, Xiongji added. After the 2 of them left, everyone looked at each other in dismay. Then they scrambled to get a seat and started discussing. What's going on? I don't know. Are they also crazy fans of Brother Shi? Do you think they like Brother Shi in women's clothes or Brother Shi in men's clothes? Cough, cough, cough. He must be in women's clothes. But it's possible that he's turned gay, he. Chapter 1231. Ningxi's movie was getting more and more popular, and Shi Xiao and Xiongji were probably the happiest. Not only did they join the netizens who were seeking justice for Dreamseekers, but they also bought movie tickets out of their own pockets and invited the people around them to watch it for free. Moreover, they were VIP members of Ningxi's global fan club. How could they not be happy? The lady boss was getting more and more popular, and it wasn't long before they took office. Because all the cinemas had increased the screening rate under the pressure of the public, the screening rate of Dreamseekers was like a rocket that began to soar. 600 million, 700 million, 800 million, 900 million. On the 10th day, Dreamseekers broke through the 1 billion mark. On the other hand, I Only Like You was still stuck at 500 million, and the rating on Shering website was only 35. All the netizens cheered and celebrated spontaneously. This wasn't just a victory for one movie, but a victory for all of them. To put it more seriously, it could even be said to be a major event in the history of the Chinese film industry. In a high-end villa in the capital, Liang Biqin was crying in front of Su Yimo. Cousin, that woman was really too sinister. She was clearly trying to force me to my death and use my head as a stepping stone to get to the top. If it weren't for her, my movie would definitely be a hit, but now everyone is scolding me. How am I going to survive in the industry in the future? Su Yimo looked at the pile of magazines and newspapers beside her, which were all praising Ningxi, and her face darkened. When they found out that Ningxi's new movie was a low-budget one, they didn't pay much attention to it. Who knew that this movie would be so popular? Cousin, this woman is very scheming. She wants to get rid of me first, and I'm afraid her next step will be to deal with you, cousin. Liang Biqin cried. Su Yimo sneered. Then she has to have the ability to do so. Liang Biqin sensed that there was a show in her tone, and immediately said with a flattering expression, "What ability can she have? Cousin, you didn't do anything before. As long as you, cousin, take action, you can crush her with one finger. She's in the limelight now. If we go against her at this time, it'll be difficult for the company. Let's wait. What's more, a billion-yuan box office for her movie is the highest it can go," Su Yimo said confidently. Cousin, you're too virtuous. You're even thinking about the company. Liang Biqin mumbled, then started sucking up to her. It's just a 1 billion yuan box office. Of course, it's nothing in your eyes. The highest box office of your movie has exceeded 1.8 billion yuan. That's twice as much as her. The outside world's judgment of Dreamseeker was basically the same as Su Yimo's. They believed that Dreamseeker would have limited room for growth after 1 billion yuan. Usually the box office would grow the fastest in the first week. After that, it would almost stop rising. On the same day, Ningxi followed her promise to Xinmian and posted a set of photos of herself in men's clothing. Because Lu Tingxiao's photos were so good that almost every one of them was perfect. Ningxi didn't want to waste any of them, so she directly collected 9 squares, which could be regarded as the welfare of her fans. Netizens had been complaining about Ningxi's photos in men's clothes for several days. As soon as Ningxi's Weibo post was sent out, it became a hot topic in just 2 hours and was forwarded over 100,000 times. This was simply the influence of an A-list big shot. Chapter 1232. After seeing this group of photos, under Ningxi's Weibo, the young girls who were eagerly waiting were going crazy. Ah, the screen is so dirty. Why is my screen so dirty? Lick, lick, lick. My husband's home photos are even sexier. He's so handsome that my legs turn to jelly. How could you seduce me like this in a photo? You little devil. Amidst the flattery, many netizens found a problem. Don't you feel that Brother Shi's photos are inexplicably sweet in love? Yes, 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 yes. I feel like I'm in love at first sight. The way elder brother Shi looks at me is like looking at a lover he loves deeply. His eyes make my whole body go numb. Oh, I envy the photographer who took photos of Brother Shi. I can be seduced by Brother Shi at such a close distance. Ningxi looked at the comments under the Weibo and finally understood Lu Tingxiao's reaction when he took photos of her that day. Well, it seemed that it was wrong to say that the devil was unprofessional. Was it true that she seduced him? No, it was the great demon king's fault for being too beautiful first. Ningxi was thinking while touching her chin and reading the comments. Suddenly, her cell phone rang. It was Jiang Mai. Hello, what's up? I can't call you if there's nothing, superstar. Jiang Mai's voice came from the other end of the phone. Ningxi said faintly, What? Are you jealous of me? Humph, it's still too early for me to be jealous of you. Jiang Mai said the same catchphrase again, but this time he sounded a little timid. What on earth do you want from me? Jiang Mai hesitated for a long time and then asked, Who took those photos for you? Why do you ask this? Answer me first. Damn you. Who else could it be? Ningxi answered in a matter-of-fact tone. Humph. I knew it. You can laugh like that. Jiang Mai hung up the phone with a pa sound. Ningxi looked at the phone that had been hung up and was confused. What a lunatic. Did he call me just to ask me this? As soon as Jiang Mai hung up the phone, Shen Mian called. Xiaoxi, who took these photos for you? Unexpectedly, Shen Mian asked the same question as Jiang Mai. I asked a friend of mine to take it for me at home. Is there a problem? Ningxi asked. Shen Mian immediately laughed and said, No problem, no problem. Your friend's photography skills are pretty good. This effect is too good. Then, she continued in an excited tone. Did you know that I just received news that in the 2 hours after you posted the photo, all the movie tickets were sold out? This time, it's very likely that we'll break the box office record for a domestic movie in a single day. Really? Ningxi only knew that the fans responded well to these photos, but she was surprised that the box office sales were so amazing. Shen Mian smiled and explained, It's understandable that our box office sales are so high this time. You're catching both male and female fans in one fell swoop. How can the box office not be high? Okay. This explanation was really irrefutable. So this is also what I want to remind you. You can't be too partial to female fans. When you break the record, you have to prepare a group of photos in women's clothes, and it's better to ask your friend who is good at taking photos for you. Shen Mian said as if she was doing something for the benefit of the male fans. Ningxi chuckled and said, No problem. Chapter 1233. Coincidentally, the next day happened to be the national long holiday, and all the major cinemas gave Dream Seekers the highest screening rate. The holiday, the super high screening rate, and the promotional effect of Ningxi's Weibo post, the timing, location, and people were all working together. On the morning of the third day, the box office figures for Dream Seekers were released, 82 billion. In just one day, 24 hours, the box office had reached a terrifying figure of 800 million, breaking the record of the king of comedy, Pang Sun's Joy last year, which was 79.8 billion on its opening day. Currently, the total box office had already reached 1.8 billion. If this situation continued, not only would it break the box office record for a single day, but it would also break the record for the total box office. Just when everyone thought that 1 billion was almost the peak, such a blowout box office figure, and such a terrifying momentum shocked all the media and people in the industry. At the same time, as Shen Mian expected, there were waves of requests for Ningxi to dress up as a woman on Weibo. Although Ningxi dressed up as a man most of the time in the movie, the rarer something was, the more valuable it was. Not only did the few times she dressed up as a woman not go unnoticed, but it also left a deeper impression on the audience, especially by a large group of men. Many of the male audience's initial mentality was the same as Shen Hanchen and Qi Fang's. Because Ningxi acted so well, they completely forgot that she was a woman. Seeing that she was so popular with girls, especially those who had wives and girlfriends, and seeing their wives and girlfriends so infatuated with Ningxi, they couldn't help but feel upset. However, when they went to watch the movie together and saw the stunning female lead dressed up as a woman, they decisively became Ningxi's fanatical fans along with their wives. In the past, couples who were often jealous of each other's idols were unusually harmonious when they fell in love with the same idol at the same time, and their passion for idolizing their idols increased exponentially. Early in the morning, Ningxi's phone almost exploded with calls. They were all congratulatory messages, and of course, Shen Mian reminded her to prepare for the welfare benefits. Ningxi originally thought that even if she broke the record, it wouldn't be so fast. She didn't expect it to be broken after a day, so she hurriedly called the devil and made an appointment with him to help her take photos when he was done with work. In the afternoon, after Lu Tingxiao came over, Ningxi immediately bounced over and massaged his shoulders and back. Mr. Boss, the photos you took last time were amazing. Director Shen asked me to invite you to take them again this time. Lu Tingxiao glanced at her and asked, Are we going to shoot a cross-dressing shoot this time? Ningxi nodded. Yes. Boss, you're so smart. No. Lu Tingxiao directly said 2 words. Ningxi. The great demon king actually refused. Ningxi looked disappointed. Why? Lu Tingxiao. I can't help it. Hearing these words, Ningxi almost choked on her own saliva. It took her a long time to recover. She coughed and said, but you did a good job last time. Do you think that I can resist dressing as a man, but I can also resist dressing as a woman? Lu Tingxiao said expressionlessly. Don't overestimate my self-control. Ningxi. Seeing Lu Tingxiao's resolute refusal, Ningxi felt a headache coming on. Was it really just because of this that this guy refused to film this time? Chapter 1234. The photo this time was quite important. Ningxi wanted to take the same quality and natural effect as the first time. She didn't want to hire a professional photographer who would look too deliberate, so she really didn't know who to look for a moment. Just as she was worrying, an idea suddenly flashed in her mind. Ah, I got it. He wasn't the only reliable man in the family. Xiaobao is almost out of school. I'll go pick him up. Ningxi said happily. She decided to ask Xiaobao to help her take the photo this time. Things were different now. Since Ningxi became famous overnight, it was definitely not as convenient to go out as before. In the past, she often went out dressed as a man for convenience, but now it was safer to dress as a woman than a man. Fortunately, she had registered her parents' name as Tangxi with the teacher. The reason for her appearance was that she looked like a big star. However, to be safe, Ningxi still didn't get out of the car. Lu Tingxiao went out to pick up Xiaobao. Although it was Papa who came to pick him up from school today, Xiaobao was very calm. Outside the car window, Ningxi saw the little fellow carrying a small school bag on his shoulder. Lu Tingxiao was holding his little hand, and he expressionlessly walked in the direction of the car with an iceberg face that was exactly the same as Lu Tingxiao's. The conversation between the father and son also made people very speechless. Lu Tingxiao. What did the teacher teach at school today? Xiaobao. I don't know. Lu Tingxiao. How did you get along with your classmates? Did you chat with them? Xiaobao. I was bored. Lu Tingxiao. How did you do in the quiz this time? Xiaobao. Not bad. The father and son had a speechless conversation as they walked to the car. Lu Tingxiao stepped forward and opened the door of the back seat. Then outside the door, Xiaobao was suddenly stunned. Mommy. The little fellow's expressionless face suddenly showed a soft and cute expression. He softly called out Mommy, and happily climbed into the car and threw himself into Mommy's arms. Xiaobao. Ningxi hugged the little fellow and kissed him on his soft little face. Mommy, are you here to pick me up? The little fellow's eyes were as bright as stars in the sky. Yes, but I didn't get out of the car because I was afraid of being recognized. Xiaobao, don't be mad at me. The little guy immediately shook his head vigorously. Xiaobao will never be angry with Mommy. Xiaobao is already very happy to be able to see Mommy. Lu Tingxiao was already used to his son's completely different expression when he saw Ningxi. The car started to move slowly. Ningxi was so touched that she immediately kissed the little guy again. Then she hugged Xiaobao and chatted. Baby, what did the teacher teach you today? Mom, the teacher taught us arithmetic, drawing, and nursery rhymes. Are you getting along well with your classmates? Did you talk to your friends in class? Mommy, Xiaobao did. Xiaobao listened to Mommy and chatted with the children. Good boy. Xiaobaozi, who was praised, looked very happy. Then he turned his head, took out a test paper from his school bag, and unfolded it in front of Ningxi. Mom, Xiaobao got 100 points. Ningxi looked at the bright red full marks on the test paper, and was even happier. My Xiaobao is the best. She knew that Xiaobao didn't like to waste time on boring things, but he did a kindergarten-level test paper, and got 100 points. It was obvious that he did it to make her happy. When she thought of this, her heart melted into a mess. Chapter 1235. In the driver's seat, Lu Tingxiao helplessly looked at his well-behaved and sweet-talking son in the rearview mirror. If he hadn't done the paternity test several times, he would have doubted whether this little guy was his own son. On the contrary, this little fellow and Ningxi seemed to be even closer than mother and son. Lu Tingxiao stared at the mother and son in a daze. Not only were the two of them getting along very well, even their small gestures and expressions were somewhat similar. Especially when they smiled, the corners of their eyes and the tips of their eyebrows were extremely similar. If Xiaobao was really Ningxi's son. Just as he thought of this, Lu Tingxiao shook his head with a sigh and got rid of this whimsical idea. Peach Blossom Cove. After arriving at the villa, Ningxi told Xiao Baozi that she wanted to ask him to take photos of her. Xiao Baozi immediately agreed, and said that he was very happy to be able to help his mama. Ningxi was thinking about the style to be taken this time when Lin Jiji called. Director Shen asked you to show the photos in women's clothes, right? Have you chosen the clothes? Lin Jiji asked. Well, not yet. I was just worrying about it. Do you have sponsors? Ningxi asked. Yes, there are quite a few. But I suggest you wear your own brand, Lin Jiji suggested. Sister Jiji, you mean Ziling? Oh right. Why didn't I think of that? Ningxi was pleasantly surprised. The past few days had been full of ups and downs, and she was a bit confused. She really didn't think of wearing Ziling's clothes to take photos. She had reported to Lin Jiji that she had founded Ziling, so Lin Jiji had always known about it and supported it. It was her own brand and matched her temperament very well. It was indeed a good fit. The most important thing for you now is not the sponsorship money. After Ziling becomes popular, it will be very good for your future development. Lin Jiji analyzed. Yes, but what series should I choose? A ready-to-wear series. A ready-to-wear series. Ningxi thought that Lin Jiji would ask her to wear haute couture. You became popular this time because of the support of thousands of people. You have a broad mass base. It's much better to be down to earth than to suddenly develop in a high-end direction. Most of your fans are ordinary young people. Although ready-made clothes aren't cheap, most working people can afford one. From this point of view, a ready-to-wear line that was slightly more affordable was indeed much better than a luxurious and expensive custom-made line. Gao Ding could have waited for her strength to stabilize before he promoted her. Thinking of this, Ningxi immediately said, Okay, I got it. Thank you, big sis Jiji. I'll send it to you when it's done. There were ready-made clothes for Ziling at home. So Ningxi directly chose 9 sets from the wardrobe. Ningxi changed into the first floral dress and walked out. Xiaobao, can we start now? Xiaobao nodded with a serious expression. Then he raised the phone with one hand and gestured something in the air with the other. Ningxi couldn't help laughing. Was this some special way of taking photos? But forget it, as long as Xiaobao is happy. Soon all 9 sets of clothes were taken. Ningxi looked through the photos one by one, and the more she looked, the more surprised she became. Even though she wasn't a professional, she could tell that compared to the casual and languid photos that Lu Tingxiao had taken for her, the composition of each photo that Xiaobao had taken for her was precise to the golden point, so that each photo looked like an oil painting or a blockbuster. It seemed that the little guy had applied all the composition skills he had learned in painting to taking photos. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.